Up as Chip Ganassi Racing has already wrapped up for the afternoon. Pato Award, Conor Daly will be joining us after their sessions are complete. But Scott Dixon does join us, driver the number 9 PNC Chip Ganassi Racing Honda. Second quick overall with just roughly 10 minutes or so remaining in this practice session. Of course, the 2008 winner of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge. Is today a good day for you guys, Scott, or how would you describe it?
Yeah, I think it was decent. There was a lot more teams doing qual sims, which was interesting. I think that was kind of similar to last year, but we've even had some teams even yesterday doing that. So we won't switch over till tonight. And then we feel like it's just such a big difference from the boost levels that, you don't get to feel too much. It's actually been kind of nice because we can kind of watch and record and see what's happening deployment wise, which is nice. So yeah, see what happens tomorrow.
You guys did do high boost stuff at the open test, so it's not a complete unknown heading into tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I think all three runs of ours that we did, we had to wave off. I think it was similar with the 10. I think the 8 was really the only one that actually finished a four lap, and I think he might have been the quickest on the 4 lap average from the test. So that was good to see. But it was nice, I think, to have that addition. Honestly, the the 2 hour practice when you had all 33 or 4 cars trying to do that same qualifying scenario is pretty tough. But it was a nice addition that they added that for the teams. But yeah, I guess we'll see what tomorrow brings.
All right, we've got Madeline and we've got Emma. Start here with Jenna in the second row, and then Nathan after that.
I have 2 questions. First one, you already had one engine change. Do you have any idea why?
Yeah, I know why.
Are you just not going to tell us?
I don't know if it's for me to tell. We'll do
Okay.
another one tonight as well. So.
Yeah, I knew the second one was coming.
Yeah.
Put you in a hole at Detroit.
Yeah. I think we're already on engine number 5, so it's pretty good going.
I know. Like
5 races, 5 engines, eh?
you're doing a real good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Second question. It might have been Rossi who said that the 3 fastest cars he thinks the favorites for the pole are the 2, the 9, and the 10. Would you agree?
I don't know. We really haven't done any kind of qual stuff. I think our car has been pretty good in race running. Lots of things change, so I don't know. I will say that, definitely the Penske cars look strong. There's no doubt about that. They're definitely running some big laps. I don't know. There can always be a weird twist, I think, that kind of comes. So I would hope that that's true, but right at the minute, I don't know.
Nathan?
Scott, again, I know you said that you guys haven't worked on qualifying much these last 3 days, but your race car, where do you feel like is it moving in the right direction? Are you happy with where things are through 3 days heading into Fast Friday?
Yeah, I'd say we did one long run at the end with a pretty big change that I've never done here. So that wasn't great, but it was good to kind of learn from it. But I'd say the long run that we'd done earlier in the day I was really happy with the car. The car was solid, pulled up really well. We could sit really close. We could, make passes. Yeah, that was definitely the best I've felt for a while, actually. So that was good.
And then following up on Jenna's first question there about your engine change, I talked to Taylor Kyle earlier this afternoon. He said you guys noticed something Wednesday night and could have had the choice to either not make the change last night or this morning and basically skipped today to only be going into engine number 4 tomorrow. But it was really important for you guys to take the whole day, and you guys obviously logged more than 90 laps. I know engine change penalties are probably something you were going to face regardless, but why was it important to make sure you guys got everything out today, even if it might incur you some more difficulties down the road?
I don't know. Probably Chip, I think, has said a few times, you think you're so good you don't have to practice. And I didn't want him to say that. So it wasn't the case. Obviously for us, it was kind of more of a sequence of changes that we were trying to forecast for. But this is the biggest race of the year. So, we wanted to, long story short, we wanted to make sure that we could, bang some laps. I'm glad we did. We learned some pretty good things today. So, yeah, that was good. Didn't want it to bite us later, just with not getting out there.
Bruce, Chris, and then Danny after that.
What would it mean to you to tie Rick Mears? Because that guy is held in a very high regard around here for most polls.
Well, immediate answer to that would be it'd be better to tie McRae's with 4 wins, opposed to 6 poles. Obviously, that's the name of the game for this week, and definitely there's 2 races for the 500, first the pole, and yeah, if we're in a position like that would be great. We'll have to see what next couple of days bring. I think conditions are going to be pretty interesting. I think with the hybrid, there's probably adding more chance of making some bad mistakes and things like that. So we could see some pretty great runs and some pretty bad runs as well. But no, it would mean a lot. It would be huge if we could.
And Mike Hall told me on pit lane about 30 minutes ago, he said greed is the enemy on pole day. What exactly does he mean by that? He was saying that the difference between being greedy and giving it all that you can give it.
I think greedy is, it's a bit of a problem for this place in general. I think it's easy to be greedy. You can get in kind of scenarios where everything's going well and you can kind of, try to go for a bit more. I've done it many times in my career, even my first, one of my first Indy Lights tests, 5 minutes before 5 o'clock trying to go out there and, throw down and end up destroying our car. So yeah, it can put you in a hole. You got to be very careful on just, the things that you pick and choose. So he's true. That's true. You don't want to be greedy.
Chris.
Scott, back in the open test in April when y'all had the added boost, doing some running out there with tomorrow, the added boost coming in, was there any data from April that is still applicable, or was the weather so different that not much is applicable?
I think anytime you run, there's things that you learn. I know we were pretty aggressive on car setup at that test. I think that changed direction for us maybe coming into here. So you definitely learned a lot. Cars were trying different things, performance wise. So, we'll have to, I guess, kind of reevaluate tomorrow. The conditions look pretty tricky Saturday, especially with the wind gusts. So, I think having a pretty clean run is going to count for a lot. But yeah, you're always learning.
Were you running your super speedway car, or were you running like some other random car instead of keeping that later?
Yeah, these cars really only run here. So yeah, it was, I think it was a road course car that we were running, which I think is true, maybe, with the exception of maybe Alio and Sato and people like that, where it's a one-off.
Thanks.
Yes.
Danny.
Scott, you spent some time recently at Riley Hospital. Some of those children will go home, and that's a wonderful thing, but some are facing bigger challenges. As a parent, can you share your reflections about that a little bit?
It's great that, the Speedway has, community outreach programs like that. It's big, I get to do not similar to that, but with, Penske's Grow Up Great program and younger education and reading and the importance on it. And it feels really nice. Obviously last night, they've got greater difficulties than all of us have witnessed, so it's definitely a hard way to start life. But it was fun, just to hang out and hopefully get some smiles. There was definitely some, kids that you make cry, I think, when they see you. But no, it was definitely a highlight to see Stingray turn up in his race suit. That was pretty cool. But no, it was a fun event, and I think a lot of the times it would be nice if we could, have the schedules to do more of that.
Let's take one off Zoom before we wrap up. Jack Binion from the race. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Jack. Welcome.
Thanks, Dave. Scott, how are the tyres towards the end of the longer stint that you did? Because logic would dictate if you add the weight of the hybrid to the car, then the tyres are going to degrade more. Have you noticed much difference this year compared to last year, or is it quite similar?
No, I think it's definitely been more difficult. I think we've seen it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to tell because a lot of even the full tank runs or supposed full tank runs that some we've seen been doing have kind of only been doing maximum of 8 to 15 laps. I think the last kind of 6 or 7 laps of a stint are going to be kind of defining depending on wind conditions. I think if it's a hot race day, right now, conditions look like they're going to be pretty favorable, but it could be a defining moment for sure, especially if, the balance kind of changes quite quickly. You could even see it out there. You can see cars that are pretty comfortable kind of for the first 8 to 10 laps and then start to fall off. But yeah, we're adding 100, 120 pounds from last year. You know, with the corners and the G load, you know, it's 3 or 4x. So it's a pretty big addition to the car, and it definitely won't make it easier. And I think even on the qual sim for the 4 lap average, you know, the degradation could be pretty high if you get you know, pretty greedy on trim levels. So I think we'll even see that play out in qualifying as well.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Jack. A reminder that tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Chip Ganassi Racing's 3 drivers, along with Chip and Mike Hull, will be up here on their traditional Fast Friday news conference.
I don't have to come now, right? I did this.
You got to talk it over with Chip. I don't know.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming up, Scott. We'll also be waiting for Pato Award, Conor Daly. They should be on their way here momentarily. All right, continuing to wrap up day 3 of practice ahead of the 109th running of Indianapolis 500. Pato Award joins us, driver the number 5, Arrow McLaren Chevrolet, 4th quick overall, best finish of second couple years, 2022, 2024 as well. You feel pretty good heading into past Friday tomorrow? Your thoughts?
They're 2 different beasts you're trying to make, you know, go fast, to be fairly honest with you. Just because they have a good traffic car doesn't mean you're gonna have a good qualifying car, and vice versa. So I've done no qualifying stuff.
Really?
So yeah. It changes a lot with the boosts. So it could feel good today, like trimming wise, but then tomorrow you put the boosts on and it's like, what the hell's happened to the car? So we had a read at the test and I was somewhat happy with it. So you know, tomorrow we'll see what we've got once the boosts come up. But in traffic, I think we've gotten better. But there's still a handful of other cars that are, I believe, a lot stronger than we are. So still work to do.
Checkered flags out, wrapping up the session. It looked like a number of teams are trying qual sims out there. Were you surprised by that today?
I mean, I'm not surprised, but I'm also, you know, I don't know how much everyone will be able to read into what today was for them. Because like I said, the boosts really change the how the car behaves a lot, you know. It can be as big as like, I'm loose now, but with the bigger boost, you're destroying right front, and now you've got understeer, you know, the wall's approaching a lot faster. So, yeah.
Let's go Bob, Jeff, and then Josh after that, and then Wolfgang. Go ahead, Bob.
So if you're happy with your car now and it does not react well to the boost, are you are you then extremely worried, or are you like, okay, we may not qualify as well, but I feel good for what I have for the following week?
Yeah. I mean, you try and qualify as far up as you can. For some reason, I've never had, I would say, the speed, or my car has never really had the speed in qualifying, to be honest, for the front row. I would love to be able to challenge for the front row. I think that's a really neat experience. I've always been in the neighborhood of 6th, 8th, 10th, 9th. We usually race really well. So yeah, I mean, I'm not so worried about it until we really see what we've got, just because we really don't know how it's gonna go tomorrow. But no, it's never right to panic. You know, even if you might not have the speed the other cars do, sometimes it's just unexplainable. And I've had to deal with it every single year I'm qualifying here, because all my teammates' cars have always been quicker than mine. But I always know that I race really well. And putting the car in a decent place in qualifying gives you that opportunity to drive forward. So it's important to qualify well. It's a cool experience, but also it's not the end of the world.
Jeff, go ahead.
How do you show up at a place that's broken your heart and has so much emotion around it and something you want so bad, but then avoid like letting that get into your head, or letting the pressure build, or letting the, you know, how badly you want to affect what you're doing out there on the track?
I treat it as a new thing every time I come back. You know, you can't plan. Just like you can never plan a start, you can never plan an Indy 500. You never know. You depend on other people's decisions and mistakes as well. So that plays a lot into how your race is going to go, to be honest. So I just really enjoy it. Obviously, as the race starts falling and you see where you're at and stuff, that's where, you know, it can get a little bit more interesting or intense. But all my Indy 500s, they've all been different. You know, I would say the one last year would be the last one that I would have expected to be fighting, but somehow managed a way to get the car there. So it's a really long race. A lot of things can happen. But yeah, I'm focused on what we can do to put ourselves into a position to win, and you know, the strive is obviously to get that right. But you know, we have a pretty good track record here in the past.
So Josh and then Jenna.
What are you doing? Josh Ron with the Indy Star. Nolan obviously had an unfortunate mishap last year, but sometimes the most trying times will cause the most growth. In what specific ways have you seen Nolan grow over the past year, not only as a driver, but as a young man?
I mean, I think it's safe to say that I went through the same thing. When I did in 2019, I got bumped. Well, the whole team that I was in kind of got bumped, but it's, to be honest, I told him after he got bumped, and I said, you're lucky that you actually got bumped, because it's miserable to drive out here with a car that sucks. I'd much rather not be in a race and not race with a car that's just horrendous, rather than like having to do the 200 laps with a car that just is freaking miserable. The speeds are so high, and like it's not enjoyable when it's really there. And I feel like that's what Nolan's position was last year. You know, the car obviously didn't seem strong. But I think this year he's with a team that obviously gives him a lot more tools to you know, to showcase what he's got in a super speedway. And you know, he's obviously in good hands in that regard. So I still tell him, you look like you're 12, but he's a good kid.
Jenna.
Pato, you've said several times you just don't know what to expect out of tomorrow. Yet some of the Andretti guys feel very, very confident that they are the favorites for the pole.
They look
They
confident,
do.
for sure.
Okay, that's
Oh,
my
yeah.
question. They look good.
Yeah, I think they look very strong, both speed wise and traffic running. I would say at least two in their camp are super strong. Yeah, I would say Kirkwood Herta. Don't count out the Penskes. They're gonna have rockets just like they did last year. And for us, I don't know. I don't want to like assume before we really see what to expect, but Ganassi seems to have taken a step forward as well. Just from kind of playing around with them in traffic. Yeah, they're just the speed feels a little bit like 22, to be honest. Us against Ganassi, but it's hard to say right now, and you don't know who is hiding what, or if are both manufacturers showing everything. Not sure. But they do look very strong, I would say.
Does it make a difference that Honda will do its engine changes tonight and Chevrolet will wait till post qualifying?
I did hear about that, but I have no idea why each one kind of prefers to do it that way. Yeah, I'm assuming we're doing the best, the best decision for our camp. That's probably what's best for their camp. Why? No idea, but they seem to have brought a very strong package, I would say. But confident that our Chevy power is going to be pulling us forward.
Wolfgang.
Pato, yeah. I have a personal question for you. Regardless what happened in the race, where you finished, if you win, I hope you do, you seem to be very ultra popular already here in Indianapolis. You're on the front cover of the Indianapolis Monthly Magazine.
Do you like the pictures?
I like the picture very much.
They made me look way too good.
Yeah, very impressed about it. And then also I'm staying in Greenwood in the Kroger supermarket. Your picture is hanging from the wall.
Oh, cardboard paddles, yeah.
Yeah, what do you have an explanation why you're so popular here in Indianapolis?
Do I see it? Or yeah, I mean it's people I keep getting tagged, people wanting to steal my cardboard paddles. But it's grown a lot, really. Last year's Indy 500 was a big step in that, I would say. I've definitely felt the difference, and it's amazing to see. It's great to see. It's always a great feeling seeing your shirts walking around and people, smiling to support you, and it's gonna be a sold out event, isn't it? Pretty much. Like it's gonna be. Dope.
You want a grandstand ticket? Good luck. Buy it quick.
I bought 300 to give away, bro.
Nice. Wait.
No, people don't have to pay for it. I give away for free. 300. I'm so generous. No, anybody that buys stuff in Pato Shop gets free tickets. So yeah, buy a shirt, buy whatever. Make sure it adds up to over $100 and you're getting a ticket. But I think it's great. I mean, it's just such a phenomenal event. And I have my own suite for the first time here at the Indy 500. I'm super stoked about that one. Definitely haven't sold out in that one, but it's okay.
I got time for one more.
My cousins. No cousins are coming this year. Can you imagine? They all like one guy's like getting married and the other one's like, no, sorry, I can't. Apparently they're all unavailable for me now. So I guess they have.
This will be the year you win when they aren't here, right? So
I'll send him a selfie when I'm pouring myself with milk.
Bruce.
When you see where you are now and what you had to endure in 2019, does that almost seem like a nightmare, or are you where you are now because you survived 2019?
No, I mean, I didn't make the race in 2019 because the car was sucked.
Also, there was the uncertainty with the team you were going to be.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
mean,
that
that was a
whole deal
blessing in
was a
disguise to GTFO out of there. So that ultimately ended up being a blessing in disguise. You know, I love the position I'm in right now. I love the people that I get to work with day in, day out. And yeah. I mean, I'm a believer that things do happen for a reason. I don't think timing is always timing doesn't always seem like it's on your side, but then when you look back, sometimes you're like, huh, well, that worked out a lot better than I thought. So yeah, I guess it's just part of the journey, man. It's such a high and low, and it's just you gotta ride with it. You gotta ride with it. You gotta just flow and um make the best decisions that you think you are doing at that time. Those will lead you to success.
Funny how things work out sometimes, right?
I guess.
Real quickly in Espanol, maybe just to talk about your day a little bit before you go.
El día de hoy hicimos muchas runs de tráfico. El carro se siente bien, no excelente, pero ahí vamos. Hay muchos autos muy fuertes. Ahora veremos mañana en calificación, pero pues son dos bestias muy diferentes. Calificación y carrera en la Indy 500 son dos cosas muy, muy, muy diferentes. Entonces, veremos qué tal mañana en calificación, o bueno, cómo andamos en temas de calificación para darles bien el sábado y domingo, y luego a trabajar otra vez en el carro de carrera, pero vamos por nuestro programa bien.
Mr. Gracias, thanks for coming up. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
Thanks. Waiting on Conor Daly. He should be here momentarily. Up here early. Couple minutes. Wherever you'd like to sit, Mr. Daly. Conor Daly joins us, driving the number 76, Hunkos Hollinger Racing Chevrolet. Third quick overall, seventh on no-toe, and the 77 laps turned today, qualifying this weekend for your 12th Indianapolis 500. Things are looking pretty good here, no?
Yeah, I don't want to get, too overly excited about things.
Yeah.
These last 2 days have honestly been like two of the most fun days I've ever had here. So I don't know why. I mean, these guys have obviously given me a great car, and that's really makes the driver's job a lot easier, and it's just got a lot of raw speed. And like that's also thanks to Chevrolet. I think Chevrolet's done an amazing job for us. But yeah, it's been fun. I feel like we're quite competitive in traffic, and then our first qualifying run was seventh on the no-toe, so I feel pretty decent about that. We haven't even really trimmed as much as any of those like the Penske cars. So yeah, I don't know. We're just going to keep our expectations in check. We're going to keep our belts tightened a little bit and see what happens.
Did you go through more than one qual run?
Well, we tried. Yeah, we ran into some stuff at the end, but we sorted that out just with kind of like a safety lap at the end, just to make sure we got everything taken care of.
Gotcha. We'll open up for questions.
Yeah.
Chris, lead us off, and then Jenna.
Conor, when you sat down, Dave said third fastest today. How good does that make you feel, like coming down here and after having what you've had in the past before coming here?
Well, I mean, people seem to like, if I end up close to the front here, it's like, oh, nice toe lap. Well, guess what Josef and Scott are doing every day? Like they are timing these huge toe laps to get these huge media runs. So I don't want to be giving any crap about it because those guys are doing way more than we are. I was lifting on my lap. We're in traffic. So like, it's just luck of the draw a lot of the times when you get a good lap here. But like we've been 2 days in a row here now up at the sharper end of the grid. And that's not a mistake. Like I've been here enough years to know that like if it's much easier to just pop up there, then you're probably in a good car. And when you're up with the Ganassis and Penske's, like that's not a bad thing. So I I feel really good. I mean, this isn't anything like, oh, we got lucky. Like we've had speed all day long and the last 2 days. So, so it feels good. I mean, it's just something that, again, measure everything to the, smallest degree, just execute tomorrow. Don't get, too frustrated with anything if it does, because obviously you're going to have tough days here too. And like tomorrow, Fast Friday is a tough one because you're adding boost. It's probably going to be windy. But I think realistically, we have got good speed in the car and it's been awesome to drive in traffic.
Growing up in Indiana, obviously this race meant a lot to you. And it also is actually there's also additional specialness with the Pacers doing well. How much more fun is it coming here in the month of May, knowing that they're doing well? Everyone's such a better mood. Does it affect the team at all, or you, or anybody else?
I mean, it's just cool. Like I love the Pacers, so let's keep winning. That's all. I mean, it's the greatest month of the year, and there's so much excitement around this event. I think this year more than ever. So, yeah, it feels awesome, just all across the board.
Jenna.
So he kind of used both my questions in different ways. No, you're fine. I'm not mad. I won't beat you up. As the Indiana guy and as someone who has had this up and down career, to be where you are after 3 days here and to know that you're probably in good shape this weekend, just emotionally, how does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, qualifying here, I think I'm always pretty honest with everyone. Like I've struggled here in qualifying without a doubt. Like the Andretti car that I drove here was actually the most, like that was the best qualifying that I've had. And like, it was comfortable. But we had a good draw too, you know what I mean? So a lot of it's about the draw. And I'm not really like, it would be awesome to have like my best qualifying, like would love to make the Fast 12. That would be awesome. But I think that's going to be super dependent on the draw and the weather and stuff like that. But like this car kind of gives me a little bit of a feeling that I had in 2021, which was the best car that I've ever had here for sure. And so like, again, that's a big statement to say, like, that was definitely one of our strongest races. But it kind of like, you kind of get that, I get that feeling that I'm like, man, this thing like sucks up really well in the toe and the draft. And it's just got that, like, it's just got the ability to race well. So again, race is the most important part. Josef Newgarden started 21st or whatever when he won. So like, I'm not really too upset about where we start. And it's just nice to have that confidence, I would say. And these guys have done a great job, like preparing this. Like this team has done a fantastic job. Just all the meticulous detail. We've had a lot of small things go wrong so far this year, just tiny little things here and there. But when it comes to the Speedway car, they've done a great job executing and just bringing a fast machine.
Who's going to draw for you?
I think Ricardo's daughter. Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I'm certainly not drawing. That's no one's going to draw well that way.
Jeff.
I got a couple ones for you. First of all, so Josef is like very much embracing going for 3 in a row, right? Like he's not.
Yeah, I would
too. You would. Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that? Or like, why do you think I mean, this place it's so hard to win. We see over and over again, but he's not running from it. He's not being like, oh, I don't know, anything could happen. He's like, I'm going to go take this. I'm going to go win three in a row,
I mean, if you like, when we know what we know and we see what we see and how fast those cars are and how well those cars can just go fast, I'd be confident too. I mean, those guys are like, the Penske cars are without a doubt still the like most impressive just cars when it comes to a speed performance platform. So I'd be confident too. I mean, they've obviously won 2 in a row for a reason. And they got all the special information from Michael Cannon too. So then they got a little bit quicker. And I was predicting a Penske front row lockout again. I don't know. Kyle Kirkwood looks really fast though. I think Kyle Kirkwood might fight him a little bit. And maybe I would like to as well. But I mean, Josef's so good here. He knows exactly what he wants. His engineer, Luke, is an awesome dude and obviously really smart too. Because I know he's very smart. I enjoyed working with him, but he's got the whole package. I mean, Josef knows exactly what he wants. He's a great champion and he's very smart. So can't fault him for being confident.
And then I'm doing a story on Buxton. I know you guys, go back a long ways. What do you think he's brought to IndyCar in terms of like helping, gain attention for the series or bridging that gap between F1 fans and you guys?
Well, I think what's interesting is like Will has such a great respect for this series, and he did forever. I mean, he was commentating when I was racing in GP3, and like when I did the 500 for the very first time, I was also racing in GP3 full time, and he immediately was following it, already knew, so much about it, loved, coming to America, going to IndyCar races. And I think the interesting part about the Formula One world is I think a lot more of like the people in the paddock and the drivers, maybe like behind the scenes, have a lot more respect for what we're doing over here than maybe like the public acknowledges or like the fan base F1 Twitter like accepts. Because like, I was trying to get Daniel Ricciardo here next weekend. But I think he's just enjoying life away from the world right now. But he's, those guys, I think have more of a respect for what I think we're doing than maybe the fan base might. And Will exemplifies that. Like, he has so much love for this series. The guy's full of energy. And I think he's a great addition for us here in Fox. I mean, I think it's awesome.
Got time for two more. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, Conor, Kevin Davenport, the Courier Times, Newcastle, Indiana. One of the questions that was asked to the previous drivers was, were they surprised that some teams were practicing qualification setups? And what you mentioned that you were earlier, what made your team decide to do that today to get ready?
I think, at least in my history here, there's always a few runs at the end of Thursday just to kind of get a feel for, low downforce for tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember a year where I haven't done a couple qualifying runs just before Fast Friday. It's just to get yourself ready, get yourself mentally prepared. I mean, we were really happy with the race car as well. So yeah, I think it's important to at least get a couple runs and to know where you're at. Just a quick read on hey, what, like, are we really struggling or are we actually not in a bad spot?
Last question, Bruce, go ahead.
You never competed here for the pole under the old format that Rick Mears and those guys used to do, where they had to get it right on one attempt if they were going to win the pole. But is the low draw more important now, or was it more important then?
I think it's more. I mean, I think it's very. I obviously don't know what it was like back then because I didn't really get to experience.
Once you qualified, the only way you'd have to pull the time, and basically that car was done.
Well, I mean,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing last year a car that was in the first three runs, like never had to run the rest of the day. I think it was Kevin Simpson or someone like ran really early and just literally never ran again the rest of the day. So I think the early draw is for sure very important. And with the way the tires are going to dig, I think with the heavier car, I think that's also going to be more important. So, and it depends on the wind, it depends on the sun, and it depends on the air and the humidity. So, yeah, it'll be interesting, but I would love, we're all crossing our fingers for that early draw.
Would you have liked to have tried that old format?
I don't even know, honestly.
Well, it was really one attempt.
I'll race anything, anytime, anywhere, any era. So why not?
I think you've proven that already. So there you go.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
Yeah.
See you back here tomorrow. Thanks, Conor.
Thank you.
That wraps up day 3 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Thanks, everyone.